You know the problem with writing, the problem I have with writing, is that I try to do this phases thing, phases. I try to do this phases thing when I write to keep it at, focusing on getting the idea out there, the solid idea, all of it, without worrying about the specific words to use. And then I try to afterwards have a second phase where I try to make sure I got the flow right, the right words to convey what I'm trying to say. And then a final phase where I make sure I'm not missing out on any important information, make sure it matches my writing style, and that things are consistent. Sometimes that gets really difficult. Well, most times, because a lot of times I'll end up with situations where I have an archive, a queue of so many posts that are somewhat close to done, but I start focusing on that second and third phase while I'm supposed to be sticking to the first phase, meaning that a lot of times I end up having to push myself close to the end of when I need to get some content out on the blog. And sometimes to me, it seems as if it may be a little half-assed. So I've been struggling with this idea because I'm still not too sure of how to deal with this crossover or this potential issue of having my personal brand, this podcast, YouTube channel, etc., putting too much of my personal life out there. However, there are a lot of things that I want to talk about where I have no choice but to at least allude to some things about my personal life and my past. And I'm trying to find a way how to deal with that in the best way possible so that I can be authentic, but not be cringe-worthy at the same time, or be that ultra millennial telling everybody everything that they don't need to know. Because I think that there are a lot of things that I've experienced, and my point of view or my points of view on those experiences can help others, because I'm more willing to talk about some of those things than a lot of others are. And I want to be able to continue to help with that. I've been told a lot of times that some of my more personal content related to a lot of people. The example I like to use is a blog post I did called Attention Private. A lot of that stuff was general information, but every once in a while I'd say something that was pretty personal about how I did things and how I hope those that come after me don't deal with the same situation I did the exact same way. So there are some things that I do want to talk about, and I'm thinking that maybe I'm just going to be weird, and when the moment hits me, I'm just going to pull my cell phone out and pull up the voice recorder and yap-a-dap for about 5 or 10 minutes and just see what happens from there. If you don't like it, then, you can just ignore it. But I, of course, think that I have some value to add to the mass media world and the information age, or what I like to call it, the age of information overload. And I want to see how I can improve on this, because how else to find out what I'm really good at, other than to simply try doing some of everything. What do you expect me to do? Just choose what I really want to be good at and just focus on improving in that one field only to become an expert instead of a jack of all trades? Who does that? It doesn't really make much sense. So I'm gonna see how this idea rolls out. I'm gonna see how this goes. I got a lot of things I want to talk about, and there are some times where I think that I'd be much better off. I'm not a great speaker. I don't think I'm a good speaker. I think I am very much prone to using, cursing when I absolutely do not need to be, and the bleeping things out, and it still alludes to cursing, which can kind of bump it, kind of push it away from that family friendly, the PG-13 or whatever you want to call it, kind of pushes me close to that NSFW, not safe for, NSFW zone, which means I'm kind of cutting away from an audience, the general audience, which I think everyone can benefit from. So I'm gonna start putting my ideas in my little notepad from writing the rain, and I think I'm gonna see how this goes. The quality is probably ain't gonna be too great on this. I'll probably do a couple things in Audacity and Q Tractor as always to try to make the most out of the quality the simple things, the noise removal, normalize and compressor, limiter, EQ, and all that. But anyone that does audio production knows that the best way to get the best out of anything is to start with a good source. And a cell phone isn't going to give me the best audio quality. Probably give me that good cell phone quality at best. We'll see how things go. I'm gonna get up and get ready for work. But I think things are gonna get pretty interesting here. I'm gonna see how these things go, and I'm gonna push these things out as often as I can. I usually do the monthly YouTube video, and I usually aim for the weekly blog, and the music, of course, goes out whenever it gets done. But I'm gonna see about possibly trying to, I don't know, maybe putting these on the blog in place of the blog, instead of doing the written blogs, pushing this podcast out, maybe fixing my iTunes podcast feed and pushing this out weekly, start bouncing back and forth between the two. We'll see how things go. Yeah, we'll see how things go with this Go Love Lively thing. All right.